It's the 4th day of August on this Thursday edition, 2016. I'm your host, Alex Jones, and everyone I talk to, including mainline liberals, are blown away by the wall-to-wall lies and disinformation being launched against the Republican Party nominee, Donald J. Trump. They floated this months ago that he was going to drop out of the race, and he comes out and says, I've never talked about it, it's not happening. They floated it months ago that his kids didn't like him and that his campaign was falling apart. None of it was true. And now they've come out. I was watching cable news last night. I went through like 7 or 8 channels, and I would basically finish the sentence as I would flip, as they kept saying, oh, he might take a payoff to drop out of $150 million. Insiders tell us, oh, he's dropping out. Oh, Hillary's 20 points ahead now. On and on and on. And then by today, it's just, oh, what would happen if he did? No one has pointed this out. We're doing a story about it. I shot a video this morning on it. Remember what happened in Iowa when Ben Carson at about 5:30 in the afternoon knew he was in second place, got on an airplane to fly to Florida to start campaigning, and they went on the news, Ted Cruz's people, and tweeted out that, well, Ben just told us he's dropping out. He's flying home. And then later they had to admit they did it as a dirty trick, and he fired the campaign head that supposedly did it. This is the Republican Party inside with the mainstream media putting this out. They just come out and say, oh, Trump's dropping out, did you hear? Or, oh, the Koch brothers might give him $150 million. And Trump comes out and says it's totally untrue. In fact, I pulled up a Politico article. You just type in Trump not dropping out. I pulled up an article from over a month ago. On 6/19/16, would Donald Trump really drop out for $150 million? And then they just admit it's total speculation. They have been putting this out. And then Donald Trump says in the article, please print it for me, guys. He says, this is the lies of Politico. How dare you make this up? But then I saw articles today saying Trump won't deny he won't take $150 million. They are preying on the public, just like they did with Ben Carson, saying he gave up. He's given up. It's over. He can't win. And then I have all the articles here admitting that Reuters and others go out as soon as Trump got 10 points ahead a few weeks ago, and they will sample 10 to 15%. Reuters admits it. I'm going to show you the graphs, if you're a TV viewer, from them, where they go out and they sample 10 to 15%, depending on the poll, more Democrats, and then suddenly claim she's ahead. Well, of course, if you get 15% more Democrats. I mean, I could go out and sample just Democrats and claim it's a poll and, you know, say that Trump's going to get 3,000% if I wanted to. Or that Hillary is going to get 3,000%. 650 Democrats is who they sample, and then Republicans, 496. You see that? That's like 15% more Democrats. This is how they operate, and it's never before been seen like this with this level of out-of-control corruption. Now, the truth is, Hillary Clinton is acting completely mentally ill and completely insane. Bill Clinton looks completely out of his mind and like somebody out of a horror movie. He looks like a zombie. He looks like he's dead, like he's Lazarus. The video's up on Infowars.com. Paul Watson's done a report on this, and he links to the experts and others that are saying she is obviously completely out of her mind. And that's not hype with us. You can look at her and look at the statements. I mean, she is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And can you imagine if she gets in, steals the election, is in control of the nuclear codes? I just have a really bad feeling about this. I've never been more concerned. I'm not really afraid of her. I mean, if God wants the earth to get nuked and all of us to die, that's God's issue. And maybe Hillary Clinton is the judgment. The horror of Revelation. Waging war on corruption. Crashing the lies and disinformation. It's Thursday, the 4th day of August, 2016. I am your host, Alex Jones. Thank you for joining us. We're going to be live here for the next 4 hours. We have Roger Stone, former Trump campaign head, joining us at the bottom of the hour. You notice Trump has come out and said that Hillary Clinton is the founder of ISIS. We put that report out 3 years ago because she was the founder of ISIS. And that's what's got the establishment so scared. They know Trump is dialed in to the info war. He doesn't get his information from us. He knows our information is accurate. And I've actually known this for a long time. The enemy's finally figured it out and is in full panic mode. And I'm not trying to ingratiate us with the public and say, oh, look how big InfoWars is. I'm telling you what we've been basically keeping secret for a while. But there's no point in doing that now. This information is liquid death to the New World Order. It is poison. It's the blood of life to liberty. It is death. Coffin nails to the globalists. We understand their program. We understand their players. We understand their operations. Trump has set the stage to expose election fraud, just as he blocked the attempt to steal the primary from him. That has got them in full, pull their hair out, panic mode, White House press conferences, foreign leaders, the Pope, the Communist Chinese, all saying, you better not elect Trump. And you turn on CNN, even Fox, MSNBC, ABC News, it is over the top compared to their over the top lies just a week ago. It is exponential deception. And it goes along with them covering up the latest jihad attack in London. 1 dead, 5 injured, stabbed as he screamed Allah Akbar. And ISIS takes credit. And ISIS supporters celebrate Russell Square terror attack. And the Islamic mayor says, be calm, do what you're told. We have total economic collapse happening in many areas of the world. The economic collapse in Venezuela is so bad that people are slaughtering and eating zoo animals. That's the wonders of communism. We've got the latest on our economy here. We've got Politico trying to claim that Donald Trump's wife was an illegal alien or did something wrong. We've got Clint Eastwood coming out, says that he's challenging Obama's pussy generation. Just effing get over it. I don't normally paraphrase profanity here on air, but when Clint Eastwood says it, it's not profanity. Now, let's get to the heart of the issues here. I'm going to go over not just news, but the actual polls that Reuters and others are giving to the respondents. And they begin with generally 15, but the lowest 10% more Democrat respondents in a poll. Now, you're supposed to, if you're going to poll people, you do it randomly or you do it 50-50 of registered voters. This has never before been done. They've got phone lists and target lists where they really know there's more Democrats. That's how they do these spin polls, how they create the perception that Trump's behind. He was 7 to 10 points ahead, even with their Cook polls. So they came out 2 weeks ago and started putting these fake polls out. And we've talked about it. But it's being done at a level never before seen where they just admit they're sampling 650-something Democrats versus 400-something Republicans. Obviously, that's going to create 10-point leads for Hillary Clinton, bare minimum. This is not rocket science. And you got to ask yourself, the dying enemy media, where is it going next? Because yesterday, I was here monitoring news here in Austin and then traveled to a nearby city to do research. And I was monitoring more news than I normally do because I wasn't on air. And I was collating news articles and data for special reports and things we're putting out about election fraud, about the fake polls, about the rigging of Google, blocking Donald Trump's name from the presidential selection when people do research. Again, unprecedented stuff beyond the old Soviet Union. And every radio channel, every TV channel was saying, Donald Trump's dropping out, have you heard? And then I heard people on the street talking about it. First it was, he is dropping out. I go, look, Trump says it's not true. I find out over a month ago, Politico came out and said he was going to be paid $150 million to drop out. Total bull. He says, he responds to them on Twitter and says, you are totally full of deception. You are liars. Asked about whether Trump would drop out, another former Trump advisor, Jim Doran, said, oh, he believes he might. But then, let's hear from Trump down here. Trump himself says it's ridiculous proposition and that it's not a fan of the question. The story is a total fabrication from you and Politico as usual, the New York billionaire said in an email sent by his campaign manager. And then it goes on from there. I will never leave the race. Nobody has enough money to pay me to leave the race. And if they did, it would be totally illegal anyways. Did Obama and the Clintons get you to write this garbage? And now we have the emails. This came out before the emails, 2 weeks before, where they are directing Politico and ABC News and CNN. You got Wolf Blitzer up there singing and dancing, drinking champagne when Hillary's up there acting like a mental patient, swatting at balloons. The archetypal creeping witch. In fact, this is getting so fantastical. We're seeing an elite melt down and burn down right now. Whatever happens with this election, the Anglo-American establishment's done. They have blown it all out. They've discredited themselves. You can say the mainstream media is now dead. It's over. You have a 6% trust rate in national polls, AP. You already know that. But you really, I guess, had nothing to lose now that you're all discredited with a bunch of lackeys and weirdos in your cult that thinks you can tell us we didn't build our businesses and families are bad and we're evil because we're hardworking. You are disconnected from reality. Obama's out in a new video clip we're going to be playing where he talks about anti-government people just need to leave America because it's the government that created all the industry and all the jobs. Like General Motors. No, it was the government that bailed out the corrupt corporations that did pump and dumps. The government is not the reason we had some prosperity. It was limited freedom and limited innovation and limited capacity to have a little more freedom than other nations. If government delivered heaven on earth and nirvana and Valhalla, Cloud 9, then they wouldn't be eating the zoo animals in Venezuela as Venezuela collapses into zombie land. Venezuela is now hell on earth. And get ready for it here, down the road. And then after they've looted every farm, looted every business, after the socialists have brought the country down, the elites have already moved out. Life will start back over again. I don't know how many years down the road this is, but we're a far cry from the bottom of the rat hole yet. But don't worry, it'll be a long, arduous, painful, humiliating, stinking fall with the rise of ignorance and deception. Already we rival Mexico for kidnappings and every other form of slovenly corruption. And meanwhile, they come out in the last 24 hours, massive 2016 campaign shakeup, Trump to be replaced. That's what Politico, the New York Times, everybody was saying. First it was he is being replaced. Did you hear? He quit. Just like Ben Carson in Iowa. He gets on a plane 5:30 in the afternoon. All right, I'm going to the next state. We're in second place in the polls. Looks like we're going to maybe be the nominee. And then out comes the rhino Republican establishment. Ted Cruz, people put out the fact, oh, we just talked to him. He's given up. He quit. He threw it in. He's in a 2-hour flight. During the 2 hours, he drops in the polls. People stop voting for him at the key voting time. Ted Cruz gets in. Ted Cruz gets second place. And it's the same thing we see here. Did you hear? Did you hear? Trump quit. And Trump's come out repeatedly and said, this is preposterous, as I've been saying for months. This is a talking point, but now the whole media is pushing it. It's all lies, and none of them will say on the news that Trump has come out and said it's not true. They lie and then won't even let you hear him say it was a lie. You know this criminal media is going to go along with banker bailouts, bank holidays, nationalization of labor like they've done in Venezuela. We're going to be in a living hell with these people. They just keep lying and lying and lying. Could Donald Trump drop out? Some bettors seem to think so. New York Times today. Trump campaign in turmoil as aides stop challenging the mogul, and top Republicans begin exploring ways to replace him on the ballot. Oh, the Republicans are back saying we want to replace him on the ballot, as if you could do that legally. But they just sell the idea. Oh, did you hear? You can't have him. Oh, did you hear? Oh, that's not available now. No. Hillary is. Here it is. GOP officials exploring options if Trump drops out. Well, we've got big Hillary news on the other side of this break. You'll want to tell your friends and family to tune in right now. This is one of the biggest announcements ever. Straight ahead. Stay with us. I'm Alex Jones. There's been massive coverage in the last 24 hours in the mainstream media claiming that Donald Trump is planning to drop out. Now, Trump has come out and said that he never said this. There's not turmoil in his campaign, and that it's not true. But the MSM from Politico to the New York Times says that they do have the sources and that it's happening. So you can just forget about voting for Trump. He's not going to be on the ballot. The Republicans are going to replace him. Doesn't matter that that's completely illegal and they couldn't do it. They're just telling us this now. They earlier tried to say that it didn't matter if he won the states by landslides, California by 78 points, that still it would be given to Ted Cruz. But for some reason, voters didn't support that, so they had to back off. But ladies and gentlemen, here is the big announcement. And we have the report right here for you. It's actually Hillary Clinton that is going to be dropping out of the race. She is due, in fact, to drop out tomorrow. Hillary Clinton is due to drop out of the race tomorrow. And there you see the New York Post. Hillary to drop out due to criminal probe. And we have a clip that we're going to play coming up where Julian Assange has put out a statement saying that when the next information comes out, she will be indicted because it's absolute proof of her criminal activity. The last WikiLeaks, of course, was them sending out Bernie Sanders dressed Clinton supporters to attack Trump supporters so that they could shut down Trump, make him look violent, but also make Bernie's people look violent. And, of course, it was Roger Stone exposed that back when that first happened about 4 months ago in Chicago. So Hillary to drop out due to a criminal probe, ladies and gentlemen. And that dovetails with what Julian Assange said about a week ago, and RT reported on that. Again, we're going to play that in a moment. So there you go. It's Hillary is actually to drop out due to criminal probe, and also because she has a brain tumor the size of a large watermelon. Also, Hillary is to drop out due to the fact that she was caught getting money from the Koch brothers, $150 million, to drop out. So she's being bought off by the Koch brothers for $150 million. And also, her husband, Bill Clinton, is an illegal alien. And also, she's very racist. And also, she doesn't like Hispanics. And also, she's a Russian spy. Of course, in that case, it's really true. The Wall Street Journal admits she did deals with her foundation that nobody else could for uranium and weapons to Russia. So that part is not satire. And yes, folks, this is satire. It's not satire that Julian Assange says the next leak will get her indicted for sure. I'm not sure about that. I think Hillary, because the mainstream media is behind her and because she does have a small minority of cult followers, and by minority, I mean a bunch of whacked out crazy people of every race, color, and creed, that she basically has Hitlerian control over her minions, and they'd put up with anything from her. But as you watch this and hear this, it is absurd to come out here with fake New York Post headlines saying Hillary to drop out due to criminal probe. It is absurd to get up here on air and say she has a brain tumor the size of a watermelon. I'm sure it's much smaller. It is absurd to sit up here with no proof and say that. But that's what Politico and the New York Times and everybody else is doing. Thousands of publications yesterday and today saying, what do they do if he drops out? Republicans may replace him. Insiders say his sons are mad at him. None of it's true. The same lies over and over and over again. ABC, Good Morning America is saying it. The New York Times is saying it. They're all saying it, and there's no truth to it. So it goes from he's going to drop out for sure to what happens if he drops out. This is how they run scams. Just like Ben Carson, when they announced, when he was on an airplane, the night Iowa took place, oh, Ben just told us he's dropping out. Vote for me. You know, good job, Ben. Good showing. Glad you endorsed me, Ted Cruz. Remember all that? Ted Cruz campaign spread false report in Iowa that Ben Carson was quitting race. This is the same thing, but bigger. Where's the controversy? Where's the anger? That they've put out fake headlines. Now, again, I'm doing this as satire to show you a fake headline. You watch the media is going to be bad saying that I'm evil because I haven't talked about this. But all I'm doing is illustrating what they've done and put the shoe on the other foot. Now, when we come back, I have the news articles, and I actually have the Reuters polls and others where they'll sample 15 percentage points more for Hillary. 15 percentage more Democrats than they do Republicans they sample to show her 10 points ahead. This is the most naked fraud we've ever seen. Why not say Hillary is 3,000 points ahead? Well, back in late June, Politico just came out and said Trump was being paid $150 million by the Koch brothers to drop out. Trump came out and said, you're total liars, total fabrication. Number one, that's illegal. Number two, I'd never give up. We're winning. I read his quotes earlier. But they don't care. They're back everywhere saying he's going to drop out. By today, they went, will he drop out? Because he's so far behind. Hillary Clinton, ladies and gentlemen, was 10 points behind when Reuters and others, and I'm going to cover this here in a moment and go to our guest, started coming out and adding 15 percentage points more of Democrats that they knew were registered Democrats that they were calling in the phone sample. In fact, I have a computer shot here of the Reuters poll for TV viewers. 650 Democrats, 496 Republicans. That's upwards of 15% more. Of course, you're going to see Hillary Clinton ahead. And that's what they're doing all over the place. Or they, in other polls, give her the independent votes. I mean, it is amazing. I've never seen more corruption, not even in the old Soviet Union, not in communist China. This is unprecedented. So we've put out the headline, New York Post, Hillary to drop out due to criminal probe, because Julian Assange has come out and said the next group of emails to come out, I wish he'd release them right now, has her involved in criminal activity directing it. Well, we already have enough with the last data dump for that to happen. So that's why this is so important. Let's play that clip.
Julian Assange is now preparing to release more leaked emails, and this time he says they will, quote, provide enough evidence to indict Hillary Clinton. Assange also made it clear there is no evidence of Russian involvement in the email hack, despite the Clinton campaign's claims.
Not content with releasing 20,000 emails from the Democratic National Committee, Assange now says he'll be releasing more material that he says will provide enough evidence to see Hillary Clinton arrested. He's given a series of interviews in which he says that there's no...
And that's what he put out via a text press release, obviously a week and a half ago. But there's more evidence that she will be stepping down because of a criminal probe than there is that Trump would, because there's no evidence of that. It's totally made up out of whole cloth. But I tell you, I'm going to fight fire with fire. And I'm giving our audience fair warning that I'm going to do what they're doing now. Every time they do it, I'm going to put it out on the mainstream media, but then tell the audience as a proviso that I'm giving you an example of what they're doing. See, these are not dirty tricks on our side. We're showing you what the dinosaur media is up to. The way they're manipulating. I mean, look at these Reuters articles, and then we're going to our guest. Look at this. Pat Caddell on crooked Reuters poll. Never in my life have I seen a news organization do something so dishonest. They're even backdating old polls with a new methodology that no one's ever done of using more Democrats than Republicans for some reason. They're even memory holding stuff now. The old Soviet Union would go back into newspapers and microfiche, you know, out people's photos. They'd blur them out of photos. Reuters radically changes methodology to favor Clinton. Another report on that. More polling tricks. New Reuters poll extremely skewed. Reality shows Trump tied with Hillary. I even disagree with that. He's way ahead of her because most folks are closeted. But now they're trying to create the illusion the illusion that Trump is behind to create a bandwagon effect so people think they've got to get behind the winner. Meanwhile, there's a video up on Infowars.com with psychiatrists, psychologists, and others, plus the video of Hillary obviously out of her mind at a whole bunch of different events and people asking her, are you okay? This is a borderline personality disorder person with a serious capacity for psychotic breaks, which before she would have every few days, according to the Secret Service, and I don't just mean the ones on the news, people I know, and not just the FBI, but now she's having breaks many times a day. And she goes between thinking she's a god and invincible to hating everyone around her. Classic borderline personality disorder. And again, borderlines go into these psychotic breaks. They're not psychotic all the time, but they have these psychotic moments, especially when triggered by stress. We're going to give the nuclear launch codes to this person that never built anything or did anything in her life, but a trail of carnage and destruction behind her. So we're going to take the last 10 minutes where I came in and said, big announcement, Hillary Clinton is stepping down tomorrow due to a criminal probe. That is to illustrate how much the mainstream media is lying. But in her case, we actually have evidence that at least points partly towards her down the road if these WikiLeaks documents come out. Assange hasn't exaggerated. He's been pretty conservative. So this must be bombshell material. What are we going to do then? Of course, we know what the documents are. We already have our sources inside the CIA and inside Defense Intelligence and others. General Flynn's gone public as well, former head of Defense Intelligence. And that's that Hillary the whole time was shipping weapons to al-Qaeda and then had the name changed to ISIS. And now Donald Trump has come out, we're going to play the clip later, and said she's the founder of ISIS. I'm very proud that I'm the coiner of that term 3 years ago. You can Google it. Hillary Clinton is the founder of ISIS. Trump now not copying us, that's the reality. Roger Stone, former Trump campaign head, Trump confidant, best-selling author of The Clintons' War on Women, available at InfoWarsStore.com, and the new Bill Clinton rape shirt. You've been in 9 different campaigns inside 4 administrations. You were part of the Florida recount. You're a vote fraud expert. StoneZone.com. You've heard what I've been saying the last 5 minutes. Roger Stone, is there any doubt we are at the most epic moment ever, not just in U.S. politics, but world politics? I have never seen something this crazy. I have never seen something this over the top. I have never seen mainstream media go this wild and crazed. Is this a sign of strength or a sign of desperation?
Well, Alex, first of all, it's great to be back with you. I flew in from Los Angeles last night, got into Miami about 5 a.m., and therefore I haven't seen a lot of the press. And then this morning when I went online to prepare for the show, it boggles the mind. I've never, in almost 40 years in American politics, seen anything like this. I mean, the tactics that were used against Barry Goldwater, 1,000 psychiatrists say Goldwater unfit to be president, famous headline. Nothing compared to this. I spoke to Donald Trump yesterday. He's in good spirits. He has no intention whatsoever of dropping out. You can say anything you want about Trump. He's not a quitter. He's a brawler. He's a fighter. And this is 100% disinformation. Is it coincidental that ABC, who seems to be taking the lead in reporting this falsehood, is the home of Clinton Foundation donor George Stephanopoulos? These guys should be filing at the Federal Election Commission as an in-kind contribution to the Clinton campaign. In all my years in politics, I've never seen anything more egregious or more outrageous. It's an attempt to dispirit Trump's supporters, and it follows on the heels of a number of false reports. Let's go through them. There is a staff mutiny at hand at the Trump campaign. 100% false. There's going to be an intervention by Trump's senior staff this weekend. 100% false. Campaign manager Paul Manafort has given up. He's now phoning it in. 100% false. Manafort, is of Sicilian extraction. He never quits. He's a fighter like Trump. So this is a smear writ large, Alex, and it is meant to particularly have a stifling effect on Trump's fundraising, which I'm sure that is happening. and to sow confusion within the ranks of Trump supporters. But to those folks who are listening or watching, Donald Trump is not dropping out of this race.
And let's be clear, Manafort is your business partner of 30-something years. And we should probably get Manafort on here immediately or get him on other channels. But I'm sure he's been trying. I'm not seeing, anywhere on the news Trump denying it other in his tweets and his statements. It looks like they're not even letting him get on air to say this is a lie.
Well, I think they're formulating a strategy. So I would sit tight. Knowing Trump, I know he is not happy about this smear, but that's all it is. It's disinformation. This is something worthy of the Soviets. Look, we know, for example, that the DNC WikiLeaks absolutely, positively did not come from the Russians. We know that because Crucifer II took credit for them a good 2 weeks ago and initially released them. They got almost no attention. He then went to WikiLeaks. They re-released them, and of course, they screwed up the entire first 2 days of the Democratic National Convention when it became clear that Debbie Wasserman Schultz had helped steal the nomination from Bernie Sanders for Hillary. So the Clinton campaign narrative that the Russians favor Donald Trump and the Russians are leaking this information, this is inoculation because, as you said earlier, they know what is coming, and it is devastating. Let's remember that their defense in all of the Clinton Foundation scandals has been, not we didn't do it, has been you have no proof. Yes, but you have no proof. Well, I think Julian Assange has that proof, and I think he's going to furnish it to the American people.
And let's point out that Assange is a real liberal, somebody that stands up for people's rights, for open societies. And I'm really proud of the fact that a lot of real liberals around the world are battling Hillary and pointing out how evil she is. But it's because they've got the hacked emails. There's no doubt that Trump's been hacked. There's no doubt people have dug into Trump. I've had big hacker groups I know get into some of our stuff before, and they went, wow, we like you. We now know you're for real. That's how they check people out. And the truth is that Assange and all the groups that are feeding him, and the intel we've got from William Binney and others now, is that it's not mainly Russia. Russia's been involved some in ClimateGate and things, exposing that fraud, that it's people in U.S. intelligence that are actually leaking this to WikiLeaks.
Well, and say what you like about Assange, he is a true progressive. He's really a liberal. Hillary's not a liberal. She's a crony capitalist. She's about the money. This is a criminal enterprise, not an ideological enterprise. This is the point that Bernie Sanders was trying, not very well, to make. I have a major piece coming on Hillary's relationship with the big banks and why she is sold out to the big banks on both coasts, essentially doing their bidding and destroying the small community banks that most of us go to.
Sure. Just to be clear, Roger Stone, you're saying, obviously, this is all fake. Trump said that over and over again when they tried to beta test this a month ago or a month and a half ago back in June. But clearly, this is the panic we see is that they know more WikiLeaks is coming out. They know stuff's coming out about how ill Hillary is and things like that.
Yeah, so they have to try to disqualify Trump now through these smear tactics. I think that is precisely the strategy. And then I see reports today that Republican National Chairman Reince Priebus called Trump and lit into him. Let me tell you how unlikely that is. First of all, Reince Priebus is a historical figure. He's the only Republican national chairman in the history of the party since 1860 who has lost a presidential election and been kept on in that job. Generally speaking, losers are encouraged to move on, and perhaps Trump should have named a chair who is more loyal.
Absolutely. Clearly, he's there to throw elections. The fix is in. The Republican establishment's working with Hillary, all lined up denouncing Trump. This is the greatest endorsement of Trump ever to any true populist.
Well, and is there any voter anywhere who cares about whether Paul Ryan has endorsed Donald Trump or vice versa? I mean, Paul Ryan is an open borders man. He's a TPP man.
I am proud of the fact that Trump hasn't endorsed that TPP guy that stabbed him in the back.
Yeah, I totally agree. This again, though, the media continues to say, well, how will Trump possibly win without the support of the Bushes and the Romneys and the Ryans? The answer is easily, because those people are discredited.
A bunch of discredited globalist, rhino, neocon losers. Thank God the Bushes and everybody else are against him. Now, expanding on that, I want to just read the quote from Trump in June when Politico and the New York Times trial ballooned that he was being paid off to quit, which is asinine. He's lost hundreds of millions in boycotts alone. Why would he quit for $150 million? This story, this is Donald Trump, is a total fabrication from you and Politico as usual. The New York billionaire said in an email sent by his campaign manager, "I will never leave the race. Nobody has had enough money to pay me to leave the race. And if they did, it would be totally illegal anyways." Did Obama and the Clintons get you to write this? Now, this was said a few weeks before the emails came out that Politico directly is getting talking points, just like ABC News and just like the New York Times. So I mean, Trump is shown to be prescient here, Roger.
Yeah, this is part and parcel of the mainstream media's bag of tricks. And, of course, I think it was Winston Churchill who says, you know, the rumor's halfway across the room before the truth has a chance to put its pants on.
That's right.
This is precisely what's happening here. And it's runaway. It has become, you know, ubiquitous. You go on Twitter, you go on Facebook, you have all these people parroting the mainstream media regarding the fact that Trump is on the verge of dropping out, which, just to be clear, he absolutely, positively is not. Anyone who knows Trump knows that this will only spur him on to greater effort, that this will only make him hunker down and fight harder. You're right. We did face this exact same messaging from the media and the left during the nomination phase. I am beginning, Alex, as I know you are, to turn my attention to what I think is the real danger here once this particular thing is tamped down, and that is the very real possibility of election fraud, the very real possibility that this election will be stolen from Donald Trump.
And we're going to pause in a moment and talk about that. Look, it's not you advising Trump or even myself, though I know we both told him this and he concurs, that obviously if they try to steal the nomination, they're fixing everything. They won't list you on Google as a presidential candidate. They're censoring you everywhere. They're lying about you. They're going to try to steal it. Do what you did in the primaries. Point out the fraud so that politically we have the will as a public to say no, and they may back off, or we're going to challenge it. Well, obviously, that's what Trump's doing, not because he listens to us, but because it's the truth and common sense, and that has panicked the White House. And as you know, hundreds of publications that know that you and I, the day before he went public last Sunday, challenged Trump to do exactly this. And it's not that they're scared that we're advising Trump. It's that they're scared that he is such a real patriot and has never compromised and is threatening to overturn their entire system.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. This is a topic we have to get into at some length.
I'm going to break here for just a moment and come back and get into that. If you can do 5 minutes the next hour, we'd love to have you. And if you can do a full hour tomorrow or do a special report, this is such a key time. Roger Stone is our guest. But before I break for a moment, I just want everybody to understand something. I cannot hype enough to you the situation we're in. There are not words how over the top, how epic, how insane all this is. And I'm going to ask Roger, as we get into election fraud, not just voter fraud, but institutional black box fraud, I want to ask him, is this jumping the shark? My gut tells me, my gut's never wrong, that if people grab their destiny in their hands, the fact that the whole system's panicking against Trump and escalating the lies to cartoon level, that this is going to backfire with people, especially because we have a few months, and that this is only going to embolden the public to support him in a landslide. I think this panic by the establishment is the most illustrative point that their time has come, that their time is over in the history of this republic. We're going back to Roger Stone of StoneZone.com in a moment. But first, the Clinton rape shirt is super aggressive, but the globalists are aggressive. Everyone needs to get the Clinton rape shirt at InfoWarsStore.com. And you need free shipping, by the way, this week. That's the special right now. And wear it and cause a debate and talk about it. It's the archetypal Obama hope style. Get out there, get aggressive. We're going to lose everything if we don't. They're trying to bully us into submission. Get the Hillary for Prison shirt that has been in thousands of publications, that has absolutely forced that onto the floor of the RNC, that has sent fear into the New World Order, that Assange comes out and says she will be in jail next. A lot of people say, man, you're risking your life. Of course I am. This is destiny. I'm not on the bad guy team, folks. You wild horses, to quote the Rolling Stones, couldn't drag me away from this. This is epic battle for the Republic. It's happening now. Everybody shoots their mouth off and says, hey, who's going to get in the arena for us? Who's going to fight the New World Order? Trump's doing it. Pure Americana. 100% manly John Wayne, but John Wayne for real. Putting his life on the line, his name, his treasure, every lie heaped on him, every demonization heaped on him. It's almost Christ-like. I'm not comparing him to Christ, but I mean, the sins of the world heaped on his back, blame for everything, target of the whole world, his family, drugged to the mud, and Trump's up there like a bulldozer running right through him like a locomotive. I am so proud that I got on this bandwagon, as my gut told me to do it a year and a half ago. Now, get the Clinton rape shirt. We also are going to sell out of the nootropic. It won't be in for about 3-4 weeks, maybe longer, of Brain Force 1776. Normally $29.95. It's 40+% off right now. DNA Force is set to sell out very soon. Vitamin Fusion during this special. We're free shipping on top of these specials. And a lot of other specials as well. We had to end the sale where everything was on discount, but the best sellers are still on discount until they sell out. But that's going to be a few days in the case of Brain Force, maybe a week or so in the case of DNA Force. InfoWarsLife.com takes you right to the nutraceuticals. InfoWarsStore.com takes you to the big umbrella site. InfoWarsHealth.com takes you to not my nutraceuticals or supplements, but folks I trust, folks I really love, folks that have high-quality products, and that's the Longevity line. When you purchase it there, you get big discounts. You can get free shipping when you sign up for auto ship. Become a distributor, get big discounts at InfoWarsHealth.com, and a percentage of the proceeds, about 10%, goes to help fund this operation as well when you get beyond Tangy Tangerine or Pollen Burst or whatever the case may be. But whatever you do, we're the tip of the spear. We're taking action. We're exposing the hoax that they're saying Trump is going to drop out or will he drop out. That's like saying Hillary to drop out and creating a fake New York Post headline. That is illustrative of the level of their deception. Roger Stone, going back to you, my friend, talk about election fraud. Talk about what we're facing and the fact that Trump is calling him on it and saying he's going to challenge it.
Yeah, this is, of course, unheard of. In political circles, there seems to be some naive notion that computerized voting cannot be rigged, is never rigged. I was actually on a program in Cleveland with the Huffington Post with my longtime friend Howard Feynman, who I agree on with almost nothing. And a woman from Huffington Post actually said as a flat statement, there's no evidence whatsoever that election fraud exists. What planet do these people live on? These are computers. We have both seen a powerful video about how the so-called Diebold machines can be rigged. One of the reasons I went to California is because those machines are in common use there. They are under control of the state Secretary of State, who actually holds a position in the Hillary Clinton campaign. Now, you remember during the 2000 recount, people went out of their minds because Catherine Harris, who was the Secretary of State in Florida, had endorsed and campaigned and had a position in the Bush campaign. So in other words, it's okay for the Clintons, but it's not okay for Republicans. Extraordinary. We're going to be laying out a very specific plan in the next couple weeks to combat what I believe will be an egregious and outrageous effort to steal the next election. If the polls show, as I think they will, that Trump is in a dogfight for the presidency of the United States.
By the way, we have former Chief Diebold engineers and others that have testified to state and federal legislatures that they engaged in fraud, were ordered to engage in fraud, and that major elections have been stolen. So to have this Clinton lackey say it doesn't exist, this is just madness.
Well, and let me say it's existed and been done by both parties. So look, I have a long sentimental attachment to the Republican Party. I'm a former Young Republican National Chairman. I have worked for 9 Republican presidential candidates, actually 8, because I proudly supported Gary Johnson against Mitt Romney and helped Governor Johnson get on the ballot in 48 states. But it has happened at the hands of both parties. You'll recall the famous incident in which Karl Rove melted down on Fox the night of the 2012 election when he kept insisting that the results shown on the screen couldn't possibly be right because Ohio was going for Romney. Why was he so sure? Why was he so positive he was right? Unless, of course, he thought the fix was in, which is exactly what he thought. So it is a topic for broader discussion, but more importantly, we are going to lay out in the next couple weeks a very specific, detailed plan on what the average citizen can do to fight voter fraud.
And I've also noticed that
election theft.
Hillary's chief of staff said this is, quote, dangerous what Trump's doing, pointing out fraud. They're really scared of us ahead of time pointing out she's crooked because everybody knows she's crooked. She's fixed everything, the primaries, everything. It makes perfect sense for Trump to come out and say that. So they're really scared of us. I think the fact that Trump came out this week and said, I'm going to fight election fraud, I think that helps send them into this panic.
Well, you have to let them know in advance that you're not going to stand for it, that if there's any solid evidence of election irregularity, you're prepared to challenge her swearing in and create a constitutional crisis. Now, in 1960, we had the closest election in American history. There was ample evidence that Richard Nixon had been robbed. But the truth is, the largest reason he didn't challenge those results is because they were irreversible. The reason they were irreversible was because ballots in the state of Texas had already been burned. There was nothing to recount. Lyndon Johnson destroyed the evidence. Texas was stolen from the Nixon Lodge ticket. Today, however, you have, at least on some of these machines...
Hold on, do 5 more minutes. This is key. But Texas put Kennedy in. Texas took Kennedy out. Back in 70 seconds, 5 more minutes with Roger Stone. We've got so much epic news today. By the way, they're about to make you wear burqas at water parks. I'm not kidding. I want to, in the last 5 minutes we have with Roger Stone, who we've got to get back on for a full hour tomorrow or Saturday or Sunday. There's just, I'm working 7 days a week right now. There is so much going on. In fact, I will be doing a special report Saturday, so everybody knows, Saturday night. It'll be at Infowars.com. Stations are welcome to play it. We're going to have it up on the satellite. I'm going into a 7-day-a-week system right now. Is Clint Eastwood a Deus Ex coming in for Trump and saying, you know, the political correctness hates him, we got to be with Trump? How exciting is that? And then separately, we've done research on the con guy. Our story's on drudgereport.com today. This con guy founded a super hardcore Muslim Brotherhood law association to promote Sharia law in the West, that and the writings specifically call for the execution of gays. Exclusive. Khazir Khan founded Islamic Journal to defend Sharia law. Khan defends Sharia law responsible for executions of gays, women in 11 countries. I mean, wow. And then he's hooked in with the Clintons. What is going on here, Roger?
Yeah, this is what they call a con job, if I may. The real irony, of course, is that he chastises Trump at the convention, asks him if he's ever read the Constitution. On the other hand, Mr. Khan is an advocate for Sharia law and has specifically written in numerous places that Sharia would take precedence over the U.S. Constitution. Now, Alex, I don't need to tell you the difference. Under Sharia, women and gays and Christians and others are oppressed, brutalized, and killed, whereas the U.S. Constitution protects all those people. So the fundamental basis of attack on Trump is phony. Go a next step, which is Trump's proposed ban for a temporary ban on Muslim immigration is not unconstitutional. It's perfectly legal. The president has that authority to block any group for any period of time. And
I say arrest Obama for not checking their passports.
The country don't have constitutional rights.
Exactly.
They're not U.S. citizens. So the whole thing is a canard, and more is being learned about Mr. Khan every day. Like I said, it's a con job.
How do we, in the last 2 minutes we have with you, 2.5 minutes, how do we strike back? Obviously, we're not losing. They're being forced to lie, go thermonuclear. That's going to backfire. But it makes me wonder. I mean, you say Trump's got big huevos. I agree. He is in danger. We should be praying for Donald Trump. But how do we counter just weaponized lies?
Yeah, look, I think the best way, of course, is to keep repeating the truth. But just watch Trump. He will handle this with aplomb. I think they're handing him an opportunity because they are so over the top. They're so overextended. This is so outrageous that I think there's going to be a backlash of sympathy for him. Just I would key off what Trump says, watch his tweets, watch his appearances. He was very effective in Daytona yesterday. It's outrageous to me. We can now learn that Hillary gave Apache helicopters to the ISIS, but we're busy talking about whether Trump is going to drop out, which he's not.
That's right. And boy, wait till the new WikiLeaks comes out. Assange, like you said earlier, he doesn't exaggerate. This must be devastating. And the word is, it is confirmed, her ordering weapons to Al-Qaeda.
Yeah, look, I think he's got a treasure trove of documents, and I expect that he will drop them at strategic times, the day before a debate, for example. Therefore, that's their greatest single danger. But at the same time, Trump has to be poised to exploit each one of those openings. He has to be poised to make sure that the mainstream media doesn't mute those things the way they have muted all the bad news.
And every single listener is so key in the fight, sharing articles, sharing links, sharing the grassroots response. We're bigger than the mainstream media when the listeners decide to move. But they've got to understand they're the power.
And Trump is bigger than the Republican Party. This idea that the Republican National Committee is preparing for a plan for when Trump drops out, complete and total BS. Trump's not going anywhere other than the White House.
That's right. Roger, I'll talk to you tonight if you can talk. Thank you so much. Get some rest, and hopefully get you back tomorrow. Thank you, sir.
Many thanks.
Wow, Roger Stone, StoneZone.com. Get the Clinton rape shirt at InfoWars store and help fund this operation and spread the truth. We'll be back with another Patriot. Well, it was a few years ago that I came out and pointed out that Hillary Clinton is the founder of ISIS. That's just the new modern name of Al-Qaeda. Our own military came out within a week of Benghazi, Colonel Schaefer and others on this show, CIA whistleblowers like Tosh Plumlee, and said that Hillary was shipping weapons directly to Al-Qaeda. Then the public got upset about it. The military got upset, so they changed the name to ISIS. Same flag, same group. Al-Qaeda's state is Islamic State. Okay, that's their country, but it's all run by Saudi Arabia. And we can actually put on screen some of the YouTube videos and articles that we wrote and that we shot with the headline, Hillary Clinton is the founder of ISIS. Founder of ISIS, Hillary Clinton, lectures America on terrorism. And you can scroll down. That's one of our little sub-channels. And you can see that's April 5th, 2016. But you can go back several years and find the clips. I'm not bragging. It's just great to see Donald Trump really understanding what we're dealing with. We've now seen Giuliani pick up that nomenclature at the RNC. And here's Donald Trump yesterday talking about how Hillary Rodham Clinton is the founder of ISIS.
Look at San Bernardino. Take a look at the World Trade Center. Take a look at what's going on. And then worldwide. And we let ISIS take this position. It was Hillary Clinton that she should get an award from them as the founder of ISIS. That's what it was. That's what it was.
That's what it was.
Her weakness. Her weak policies.
I've been waiting for this a long time. Oh, I love Trump. Nobody's got those huevos. All right, continuing. So that's why they're now running around saying, they tried this in June. They said, oh, he's getting $150 million from the Koch brothers to drop out. He's lost hundreds of millions in TV contracts and stuff just by being boycotted. He's like, that's crazy. I'm all in. I'm never quitting. Little Bird told me that Trump will spend $1 billion of his own money in the last month of the campaign if need be. He's raised 80-something million in the last month. He is dominating. And they got Reuters out doing 15% higher numbers of Democrats they poll than Republicans to say she's 10 points ahead. They admit it. Total fraud. And I've been all over the country. My crew's been all over the country, whether it's Philadelphia or Cleveland or whether it's Los Angeles or whether it's Miami or whether it's Dallas or whether it's Chicago. I mean, you see our crew every week, just all over the country. Leanne McAdoo in 3 days in L.A. couldn't find people on the street that supported Hillary. Now, granted, like 80% or so supported Sanders. The rest were Trump. She went to exit polls, finally found some. We have the video. 8 out of 10 were for Sanders. But we don't need to know they stole it. They admit the day before the superdelegates met at a, quote, rich person's house with the AP who runs the election announcements, and they decided what numbers to put on the news the next night over martinis. That was in the New York Daily News. We have entered the twilight zone here. And now they come out and say, Trump is going to give up. Trump is going to stand down. Trump is giving up his campaign. Trump puts out tweets and statements that he hasn't, about to give a speech. The media doesn't cover it. And they have Stephanopoulos, a Clinton operative, on ABC saying it's going to happen. That's why I ran images earlier in the last hour saying Hillary's going to resign tomorrow. Now, I said it's satire, but imagine if I really put this out and said I had sources, I would be drummed out, and I should be, of the media. But not the establishment media. Joining us is somebody who has a lot of courage as well, James O'Keefe. There's video that we posted last week, as our reporters caught it on tape. Bernie mob attacks Hillary fans. He was dressed up like a Hillary supporter. They attacked him. O'Keefe strikes again. Project Veritas exposes disunity of DNC. I'm going to get to that in a moment with James O'Keefe of ProjectVeritas.com. But I want to get his take on the #1 news story. Isn't Hillary and Apache helicopters to Al-Qaeda or ISIS? It's not the fact that she looks like she's having mental meltdowns every day now. It's not any of this, James. It's not the latest Islamic attack that they're saying is an Islamic attack in London, or the priest saying, you basically get behind me, Satan, before he's killed, and they attempt to cover that up, or them changing the name Ali to David. No, it's all that Trump's quitting when none of it's true. None of it's even true. It seems like we're watching the mainstream media finally die in front of us. I think this signals desperation. Now, you're a smart, savvy guy. Do you disagree with me?
I think it's all manufactured. I think everything on television these days is manufactured. And after, Alex, I was at the DNC with some of your crew last week in Philadelphia, and I saw things that nobody else saw. I saw thousands and thousands of people angry. It was like the World War Z movie with Brad Pitt. They were climbing over each other to try to get over the fence, the perimeter fence that they created. So I turned on Fox, MSNBC, CNN. I didn't see that. I saw a gobbledygook speeches inside the convention.
They told us there was total unity, just loving.
No, there was no unity, and we don't see those images on television. So everyone you see, everything you see, they're paid consultants, paid to give their positions. You're not seeing the reality. And frankly, the media is obviously trying to create this narrative against Trump. We knew that they would do that. But on the ground, when I talk to black protesters, I talk to Bernie people who are more angry and more hateful towards Hillary Clinton than any Republican or Trump supporter I know. I was thrown to the ground, as you're looking now. One of these guys attacked me, started screaming, "Hillary stole the election," is what he said. And many people were angry at me. I was dressed up like a Hillary supporter.
You have a lot of courage, buddy.
They were so angry, more angry than any Republican I've ever talked to.
I can't find Hillary supporters unless I go to the richest areas of Austin. Hillary really looks like she's degenerating. What do you think is really going on here?
I think that the media is trying to do their best to elect Hillary and create these large narratives that Trump is in trouble and so forth and so on. I do think, people ask me, who do you think is going to win? I think it's a 50-50 chance because the Clintons are sort of diabolical, and I have evidence of voter fraud. But I think that people around the country are really upset. And the most powerful thing we exposed in Philadelphia, I don't know if you have this clip handy, were African-American protesters screaming at the top of their lungs. The Democrats have done nothing to help them in the inner cities. The actual quote was, "Have you seen the poverty in Philadelphia? Have you seen the homelessness? That's why we want to leave the Democratic Party." So I said undercover, and my colleague said, there he is right there. I don't know if you have the sound from that, but we said to him, what about the fact the first female president breaking the glass ceiling? He says, "To hell with the glass ceiling. I'm trying to put food in the refrigerator." This is a very powerful clip. So people are angry. You don't see that on television. I don't know why you don't see it, but the corporate media won't report that, but we will.
We're queuing that clip up right now, but these are some of the viral videos that InfoWars shot with Project Veritas. And there's so many others where you do expose election fraud, all of it. I'm really heartened because they're being forced out in the open. They're being forced to steal primaries. They're being forced to try to steal the general election. They're lying and saying Trump's dropped out when he hasn't. I mean, they are engaged really in panic mode, I think. So I think down the road, time is running out for these people. I'm very confident.
Yeah, the whole media narrative you're seeing on television, where they're creating narratives that he's in trouble, he's going to drop out, and so it's all crap peddled by the political consulting marketing industry and paid consultants. It doesn't mean anything. And most people I found, Alex, I don't know if your reporters have found the same thing in the country. People are so angry at the system, they don't even believe it anymore.
That's what I'm saying. And I think them getting even more arrogant and more deceptive is going to backfire because, look, people know she stole this from Bernie, and they know they're trying to steal it now, and Trump is saying that, and they seem to be in total panic mode. Let's play the clip that Mr. Veritas was talking about. Here it is.
3 reasons why I, a black man, should vote for him. 3 reasons. Let me over.
You want to break the glass ceiling?
What the hell is a glass ceiling to me? I'm trying to put food in refrigerators. Tell me 3 reasons. She's a woman. My mama's a woman. My daughter's a woman. Give me 3 reasons why I should vote for Hillary.
First female president.
Who gives a damn about the first female president? What about the food?
We want to make history.
History. We're making history right now.
Every day we're making history.
I just don't understand why you don't.
There you go. I don't care about a glass ceiling. I care about food. What about the woman in my life?
That's right. And Alex, I mean, the power of that clip, if that was said by a Republican or someone protesting a Republican, that'd be played on every single television station over and over and over again to create a narrative. And one thing Andrew Breitbart taught me is it's all about the media. It's all about the narratives. And that flies in the face of every single narrative that's out there. He said, that same man, who's actually part of the Bernie movement, he said that young black men are leaving the Democratic Party. And Hillary depends on those folks to win. And he said, we will never vote for her. And if there was any justice in the media, they'd be playing footage like that. And they'd have a narrative on the front page of the New York Times that said, is Hillary losing black supporters? So we're bringing this footage to you. You guys were with us in Philadelphia. Your cameraman was next to me as I was thrown to the ground filming it. So they're not going to report this. But Alex, that clip was viewed 1 million times on Facebook, millions of views on YouTube. So we're doing our job to get the message out.
Absolutely. CNN average show has 200,000 viewers, MSNBC a couple 100,000. So they can have big fancy $50 million sets. It doesn't matter because we actually have the audience. So we've reached that paradox moment where they're lying, they're doubling down, they're totally going Soviet style and beyond. But the Soviets could get away with it for a while because there was no counterbalance. Don't they understand there's a major counterbalance, James O'Keefe?
Yeah, they understand it, which is why that they're throwing everything on television constantly over and over again. Trump's in trouble, Trump's in trouble, Trump's in trouble, because they have to create this corporate echo chamber on all the big TV stations to counteract the popularity of the grassroots. So you're literally seeing right now the powers dynamics are shifting. I wrote about this when the shootings happened and people were filming it. The power dynamics are changing and it's making them very upset. And if there's one thing I learned from being in Philadelphia at the DNC is the sheer shock of seeing the thousands of protesters piled like zombies trying to get over the fence and looking at the TV screens inside of those lobbies in the hotels thinking that's not what I'm seeing outside. So there's a power shift happening. I've been around long enough for 7 years doing this to know that everything I see on TV, I mean, it's all just gobbledygook, identity politics crap. And we have to get the images in front of people, make them trend on social media or on your website. That's the only way that we're gonna because
exactly. And it's not like we're cherry picking quote minorities for Trump or minorities against Hillary. That's all we see at rallies I have or events. That's all we see. And then we tune in CNN. It's like a whole nother planet where they've got 20 reporters out cherry picking to put together this lie. But what do they do when almost everyone I talk to, quite frankly, I think Sanders was as popular as Trump, which is, wrong message, but he was right about some of the problems, a lot better than Hillary. But so I mean, Sanders is popular, Trump's popular. I'm not finding the Hillary people. Like I said, I mean, I don't know what her real numbers are, but no wonder Reuters has to oversample Democrats in polls. And I mean, because they're trying to prop the facade up. It's so incredible. In fact,
when we walked through the protest, the video you played a week ago, that this was a California Hillary delegate saying we need to ban all guns, but call it common sense gun legislation. This is a direct quote. She said, if you just say SHIT like that, people will buy into it. That is what Mary Bayer said. So I walked through the Bernie crowd, Alex, with that little video you're watching, a placard of her face and her quote. I got high fives from the Bernie people.
Which shows they're watching your show, they're watching mine, which shows we are unifying the people just under common sense.
Yes, that's exactly right. People agree on 80% of the issues. This identity politics gobbledygook is all just a ploy to divide the people. Bernie people were friendly. to the idea of someone lying and saying they want to ban all guns. They were friendly. All the protesters, no one was negative to me when I was.
And by the way, the Sanders people are well-spoken compared to Hillary supporters.
Yes, and they were all very supportive. They said, we need to expose the fraud and the lies and the deceit and the black people being taken advantage of in the inner cities, and they're trying to ban guns and call it something else. It's when I dressed up like a Hillary supporter and walked through there that they threw me to the ground and screamed in my face, "You stole the election." So we are more united than we think. Those people don't have a voice on television, but they have a voice with people like you and people like Veritas and YouTube and Facebook, as long as Facebook doesn't censor people like they did Milo Yiannopoulos, but we're looking into that too.
Well, in the time we've got left here, talking about Matt Drudge, Drudge came here almost, it was like 10, 11 months ago, and he said, look, he said, I got approached Supreme Court justice. They said next year they're going after the free speech. We now see it happening in Europe, happening here. But I think it's going to only make people value free speech even more. But clearly, if they can try to boycott and bring down Limbaugh, which they failed. I thought Limbaugh's perfect. I'm not either. But folks, they get Limbaugh, they get everybody else. If they can shut down Drudge with Federal Elections Commission garbage, which I know they've been calling for, if they and they've said, Media Matters has said, go after me too. They've tried to put you in prison. I mean,
yes.
The point is there really is a war on the press, and anybody who really is for free speech in America better come together because the establishment's making their move.
Matt Drudge is a hero of mine. I love the interview he did with you, and what an honor he did it with you and nobody else.
Absolutely, a big honor.
Huge honor. I'll say this: Veritas is breaking lots of local stories because I think the local politics is where you can make the most change, and that's what we're doing. In the last 24 hours, we exposed voter fraud in Michigan, and instead of relying upon the mainstream press to get a comment from the mayor of Detroit, which is what I usually would do, I went to the mayor.
I'm telling you what we've been basically keeping secret for a while. But there's no point in doing that now. This information is liquid death to the New World Order. It is poison. It's the blood of life to liberty. It is death. Coffin nails to the globalists. We understand their program. We understand their players. We understand their operations. Trump has set the stage to expose election fraud, just as he blocked the attempt to steal the primary from him. That has got them in full, pull their hair out, panic mode, White House press conferences, foreign leaders, the Pope, the Communist Chinese, all saying, you better not elect Trump. And you turn on CNN, even Fox, MSNBC, ABC News, it is over the top compared to their over-the-top lies just a week ago. It is exponential deception. And it goes along with them covering up the latest jihad attack in London. 1 dead, 5 injured, stabbed as he screamed Allah Akbar. And ISIS takes credit. And ISIS supporters celebrate Russell Square terror attack. And the Islamic mayor says, be calm, do what you're told. We have total economic collapse happening in many areas of the world. The economic collapse in Venezuela is so bad that people are slaughtering and eating zoo animals. That's the wonders of communism. We've got the latest on our economy here. We've got Politico trying to claim that Donald Trump's wife was an illegal alien or did something wrong. We've got Clint Eastwood coming out, says that he's challenging Obama's pussy generation. Just effing get over it. It's the 4th day of August on this Thursday edition, 2016. I'm your host, Alex Jones, and everyone I talk to, including mainline liberals, are blown away by the wall-to-wall lies and disinformation being launched against the Republican Party nominee, Donald J. Trump. They floated this months ago that he was going to drop out of the race, and he comes out and says, I've never talked about it, it's not happening. They floated it months ago that his kids didn't like him and that his campaign was falling apart. None of it was true. And now they've come out. I was watching cable news last night. I went through like 7 or 8 channels, and I would basically finish the sentence as I would flip, as they kept saying, oh, he might take a payoff to drop out of $150 million. Insiders tell us, oh, he's dropping out. Oh, Hillary's 20 points ahead now. On and on and on. And then by today, it's just, oh, what would happen if he did? No one has pointed this out. We're doing a story about it. I shot a video this morning on it. Remember what happened in Iowa when Ben Carson at about 5:30 in the afternoon knew he was in second place, got on an airplane to fly to Florida to start campaigning, and they went on the news, Ted Cruz's people, and tweeted out that, well, Ben just told us he's dropping out. He's flying home. And then later they had to admit they did it as a dirty trick, and he fired the campaign head that supposedly did it. This is the Republican Party inside with the mainstream media putting this out. They just come out and say, oh, Trump's dropping out. Did you hear? Or, oh, the Koch brothers might give him $150 million. And Trump comes out and says it's totally untrue. In fact, I pulled up a Politico article. You just type in Trump not dropping out. I pulled up an article from over a month ago. On 6/19/16, would Donald Trump really drop out for $150 million? And then they just admit it's total speculation. They have been putting this out. And then Donald Trump says in the article, please print it for me, guys. He says, this is the lies of Politico. How dare you make this up? But then I saw articles today saying Trump won't deny he won't take $150 million. They are preying on the public, just like they did with Ben Carson, saying he gave up. He's given up. It's over. He can't win. And then I have all the articles here admitting that Reuters and others go out as soon as Trump got 10 points ahead a few weeks ago, and they will sample 10 to 15%. Reuters admits it. I'm going to show you the graphs, you're a TV viewer, from them, where they go out and they sample 10 to 15%, depending on the poll, more Democrats, and then suddenly claim she's ahead. Well, of course, if you get 15% more Democrats. I mean, I could go out and sample just Democrats and claim it's a poll and, you know, say that Trump's going to get 3,000% if I wanted to, or that Hillary is going to get 3,000%. 650 Democrats is who they sample, and then Republicans, 496. You see that? That's like 15% more Democrats. This is how they operate, and it's never before been seen like this with this level of out-of-control corruption. Now, the truth is Hillary Clinton is acting completely mentally ill and completely insane. Bill Clinton looks completely out of his mind and like somebody out of a horror movie. He looks like a zombie. He looks like he's dead, like he's Lazarus. The video's up on Infowars.com. Paul Watson's done a report on this, and he links to the experts and others that are saying she is obviously completely out of her mind. And that's not hype with us. You can look at her and look at the statements. I mean, she is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And can you imagine if she gets in, steals the election, is in control of the nuclear codes? I just have a really bad feeling about this. I've never been more concerned. I'm not really afraid of her. I mean, if God wants the earth to get nuked and all of us to die, that's God's issue. And maybe Hillary Clinton is the judgment. The horror of Revelation. Waging war on corruption. Crashing the lies and disinformation. It's Thursday, the 4th day of August, 2016. I am your host, Alex Jones. Thank you for joining us. We're going to be live here for the next 4 hours. We have Roger Stone, former Trump campaign head, joining us at the bottom of the hour. You notice Trump has come out and said that Hillary Clinton is the founder of ISIS. We put that report out 3 years ago because she was the founder of ISIS. And that's what's got the establishment so scared. They know Trump is dialed in to the info war. He doesn't get his information from us. He knows our information is accurate. And I've actually known this for a long time. The enemy's finally figured it out and is in full panic mode. And I'm not trying to ingratiate us with the public and say, oh, look how big InfoWars is. I don't normally paraphrase profanity here on air, but when Clint Eastwood says it, it's not profanity. Now, let's get to the heart of the issues here. I'm going to go over not just news, but the actual polls that Reuters and others are giving to the respondents. And they begin with generally 15, but the lowest 10% more Democrat respondents in a poll. Now, you're supposed to, if you're going to poll people, you do it randomly or you do it 50-50 of registered voters. This has never before been done. They've got phone lists and target lists where they really know there's more Democrats. That's how they do these spin polls, how they create the perception that Trump's behind. He was 7 to 10 points ahead, even with their Cook polls. So they came out 2 weeks ago and started putting these fake polls out. And we've talked about it. But it's being done at a level never before seen where they just admit they're sampling 650-something Democrats versus 400-something Republicans. Obviously, that's going to create 10-point leads for Hillary Clinton, bare minimum. This is not rocket science. And you got to ask yourself, the dying enemy media, where is it going next? Because yesterday, I was here monitoring news here in Austin and then traveled to a nearby city to do research. And I was monitoring more news than I normally do because I wasn't on air. And I was collating news articles and data for special reports and things we're putting out about